I miss my wife, Tails. I miss her a lot. I'll be back.
So as I'm sure some of you know, I used to be a Sonic fan. What is this? Get this off my screen. No, this is even worse. Remove this. Got like 5 seconds into the video, I'm already losing my mind. What is wrong with me? But like, I used to love Sonic, bro.
I used to love Kanye. I used to love Kanye. I even had the pink polo. I thought I was Kanye.
God, not even a Kanye video and I'm still talking about this dude. What is wrong with me? No, but like, I was the biggest Sonic fan ever, bro. I was devoted to this franchise. I memorized the entire lore. No, you do not understand how addicted this franchise I was. I was obsessed, bro, okay? And I don't like hear everybody in the comments say like, oh no, I'm more obsessed and stuff. Oh no, I'm more of a fan. Shut up, bro. You're not memorize the entire lore inside and out of a franchise. Okay? You have not put together multiple timelines to explain the franchise multiple times. Okay? Shut up. You're not him. Okay? You're not me. I'm the biggest Sonic fan ever. Shut up. I think a low-key might like actually have schizophrenia or something. But yeah, what am I trying to say with all this, me being a Sonic fan now? Well, I became a Sonic fan around like 2015, like 2014, something along those lines, I don't know. But I didn't actually start playing video games until around like 2017. That was when I got like my first ever console ever, the Nintendo Switch. It was either between that or the PS4, which I really wanted for a long time. But then I got a Switch and I was like, oh no, I want this. I got the Switch and then I was like, oh, are there any good Sonic games? Turned out there were no Sonic games at all on the Switch, so I had to wait a bit before they released Sonic Mania, one of the greatest games ever, and then Sonic Forces. Now, granted, at the time, I kind of hated Sonic Mania, and I loved Sonic Forces. I don't know why. I was new to video games and Mania was like a bit hard on me. And Forces was easy, but very, very boring. So yeah, Sonic Forces was pretty much the first 3D Sonic game that I've ever played. And it's kind of trash. And that's an opinion that I'm pretty sure no one would disagree with me on. But why is that? Yeah, well, the answer is actually longer than you expected, and I'm going to be explaining it all to you here today. Starting off with, so the hype and anticipation to Sonic Forces were just through the roof. I mean, like, keep in mind that the last Sonic game that came out before this was in 2013, Sonic Lost World, which was... Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to stop real quick, because I'm pretty sure you probably have no idea what I'm talking about right now. So, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going back a bit to, let's say, 1993, the day of the dinosaur. So in 1993, Sonic was on top, bro. Like, he was basically on top. He was so on top, you'd think he was Jeffrey Epstein. But basically, Sonic was the gaming icon. He was the first, like, mascot platformer, and he was the best to do it. He was the biggest icon back in the 90s. He had already had 2 incredibly solid games in 1993, with Sonic 1 released in 1991, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 released in 1992. So Sonic practically being the face of video games, or at least sharing it with Mario, what would you do in that situation if you were Sega? Release another game? Yeah, well, that's what they did. They released like 1 billion more that year. In 1993 alone, we got Sonic CD, Sonic Spinball, Sonic Chaos, Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, and of course, the GOAT game, Sonic's Popcorn Maker. Now that might not seem a lot to you since, pretty much all of them were spin-offs, but keep in mind that 2 of them were full-on platformers, and even though one of them was for a lower quality console, still, it's a full-on platformer. And with that included, they also released 2 new TV shows. God, I wish we had this much content nowadays. I wouldn't be surprised if you are familiar with them since they are extremely popular. Those shows being The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, which is famous for a bunch of memes.
Snooping as usual, I see.
And the most important one for this video at least, Sonic the Hedgehog, or Sonic SatAM as it's most commonly referred to. Now both of these shows were very, very different from each other. While Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog was kind of light-hearted, childish kid cartoon, Sonic SatAM was about a corrupt world that was taken over by a tyrannical leader and a group of freedom fighters fighting against it to bring it back. Basically, you know World War II? Yeah, imagine if Hitler won. That's the premise. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that this was a bit darker than Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, you know? Just a bit, a small, tiny bit, you know? But they did take inspiration for it when they were making, I forgot to mention this, in, like, 1993, they also, like, made, like, 10 million different, like, comic runs for Sonic, but the most important one is the Archie comic one, which is by far the most famous one, and the longest running comic based off of a video game character ever. Yes. And it took inspiration from both shows. It took the premise. In the beginning, it took the premise from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, the premise from this show, SatAM. But the tone was of the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Which, I mean, you can decide if it worked or not. Sometimes a joke hits, sometimes they didn't. But I thought at the beginning it was kind of good. But then suddenly they switched. They got a new writer. His name was Ken Penders. And this guy, he completely ruined everything. He destroyed it. All of it. It's all his fault. It's all his fault. He's the reason COVID happened. Every single tragedy that ever happened to humanity can be blamed on this guy. It's all his fault. Everything, all because of him. He's Hitler. He destroyed it all. He ruined it all. It's all his fault. He destroyed it. Yeah, okay, but actually, like, what happened with this guy? What did he do? Well, they needed a new writer for Sonic the Hedgehog, the Archie comic, and they decided to get him for some reason. Problem is, he knew literally nothing about Sonic the Hedgehog, so he asked his son, and either his son gave him bad info, or he just didn't listen, because this is not Sonic! What is this, Ken? Why? Why did you do this? Why? Oh, God. Okay, he didn't immediately make this, okay? He first got on board and started making the same things that Archie were already doing. But over time, he gained more and more power and could now kind of decide on where the series was going. And he made it a bit darker. You know, you think, oh, that's fantastic. It's like the SatAM cartoon, right? Yeah, he kind of made it exactly like the SatAM cartoon, but then he completely shifted it to another direction entirely. He completely, like, messed up Knuckles' storyline. Now, like, there's a huge Echidna clan. They're, like, living underground or something. And, like, they're Echidna Nazis. And, like, Knuckles' cousin, like, crush, or, like, wife, is part of it. But she's not anymore. Charmy's friend, like, died of an overdose from drugs? What? Do you know what Sonic the Hedgehog is? But none of that is really that important, I guess. I mean, it is important. But, like, all you really need to know is that he kind of messed up Knuckles' whole story by adding in Echidna Nazis, making one female Echidna, was a female Nazi, making one female Echidna rebel, and joined Knuckles in a fight to stop them, I guess. Then he kind of like left Archie, I guess, after messing everything up, and they got a new guy, Flynn. Something Flynn, I forgot what his name was. God, it's like 2 a.m. right now. He fixed everything, but then in 2008, Sega unfortunately made the mistake of making a bad Sonic RPG game called Sonic Chronicle: The Dark Brotherhood, with EA, I'm pretty sure it was. This game wasn't that good, but the story featured an echidna Nazi clan in another dimension, but then like one was called Shade, and she like rebelled and stuff. And so Ken was like, yo, these are my characters, and like copyrighted them and stuff. I'm gonna copyright them right now, and I'm gonna sue Sega, Archie, and Electronic Games. Keep in mind that he was basically failing. All of his like ideas and projects that he like had in mind were not successful at all, in the slightest. Sonic was the only success that he ever had. He was living off of unemployment, and he decided to sue like the two biggest one of the biggest gaming companies ever, or two of the biggest gaming companies ever, and one of the biggest like comic book producing companies ever. And guess what? In the end, he won on all of them. He copyrighted his character. He got copyright for his characters. He's told Archie that they can't use them. And he made it so that Sonic Chronicle: The Dark Brotherhood can never be completed. Which means I guess it's not canon anymore now. Now, I'm not going to explain all that happened in the lawsuit, but Comic Drake actually had like a really, really good video on it. In fact, like I'm using it as like a reference point. I really suggest you go watch it if you want like more info on this, by the way. But to keep it short and simple, all of the companies were impacted by this, except for like BioWare and Electronic Arts. Sega couldn't complete Sonic Chronicles and had to place heavy mandates. Archie had to completely like reboot. However, the way they rebooted was actually like kind of well and good. Sega just like decided to ignore the fact that the stories were not the same, and that really did suck, because like at the time when Pentra sued them, the games really weren't that good, but at least they had one thing over most other platformers, that being the stories. The stories were amazing. They're just like great. But the last game that actually had a good story before like Sonic Frontiers was Sonic and the Black Knight, and like that I feel like was the perfect way to go out, because that game probably had the best characterization of Sonic in my opinion. Sorry if it seems like I'm putting less effort in this video. I'm trying to get this video done and go to sleep. Okay, it's like 3 a.m. now. But content never sleeps, so neither do I. Anyway, Sega then released Sonic Colors, which had okay gameplay, but the story was bad. Like, basically nothing happened in it, if I'm being honest. Sonic Generations, I would reply to you with what story? Sonic Lost World story felt like it was actually trying to set a couple of stuff up, but then it doesn't. Like they got J.J. Abrams to write it for them. And after Sonic Lost World in 2013, they just decided, hey, you know what? Let's just like completely reboot this. They said that like Sonic Boom, they came up with Sonic Boom. They said that's gonna be like a spin-off. But problem is, from 2013 to like 2017, there was absolutely no news of a modern Sonic game like ever. It was just like boom, boom, boom. And while I do like Boom, I guess, I like the TV show. It's kind of what got me into Sonic in the first place. The comics are amazing. The games... God.
Looks like we have a fight, Knuckles.
All right, fight by creepy Doom. This day just keeps getting better.
Yeah, the game's pretty broken, if you couldn't notice. The game's a broken mess that goes against everything and anything that Sonic stands for. But hey, the dialogue was good, I guess, but that pretty much goes for anything Sonic Boom, so yeah, it's not really a win. Shattered Crystal is basically a mobile game except worse. Fire and Ice is apparently good, but I haven't played it. And of course, Sonic Dash 2, Sonic Boom is goated. And that's really it. I mean, like, there wasn't really any Sonic news for Monosonic, but then, like, 2017, we got news for Sonic Mania and a thing called Project Sonic 17. The trailer just hyped everyone up. I'm sorry if I don't sound hyped right now. I'm very tired. It looked like kind of a return to form to the old stories of Sonic. It looks like Sega said, okay, you know what, forget those mandates. We're going to actually try to make a good story. It looked like it was going to be a serious story again. And it also looked like it was gonna have elements from the Archie comics and Saturday AM cartoon, which is why I talked about them. People were like so hyped for this. People were theorizing about it and everything. Like, oh, the story's gonna be so good and stuff. The gameplay's gonna be fire. And did it live up to the hype? Well, obviously no. Well, I don't know. Guess we'll find out next time on next week or next month. God, I don't even know anymore. I'm just trying to get to sleep, bro. Goodbye, I guess. Subscribe, share, comment, follow the Instagram, please, and goodbye. But like, here's my like collection of like Sonic stuff, you know, like looks like I got like a bunch of stuff, bro. Look, I got a bunch of stuff. Check it out, bro. Got a bunch of books, bro. Promise I'm cool, bro. I have no friends.
Kids, there's nothing more cool than being hugged by someone you like. But if someone tries to touch you in a place or in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, that's no good. It's your body. No one has the right to touch you if you don't want them to. So what do? First, you say no. Then, you get out of there. Most important, you gotta tell someone you trust. Like your parents, your teacher, a police